Dawn is here from the water district.
You ready to start?
I'm ready.
You ready?
Yeah.
Mr. Minans, step forward, or you can talk back there, whichever way you want to go.
Here, you want to sit in my spot?
No, stay back. Chairs, I think there's more people.
Yeah, we never know
You found
these
these
days how many
acceptable?
people are gonna show up. It's always a catch-22. Yeah, so, Dawn is here to talk about how things went with the water district projects.
Yeah, Kathy said you want us to come in and kind of run through the process we had there. And it was kind of, it took us some time. I mean, some of the places over there, pretty rough, you know, the basements. We spent some time on our back in basements, you couldn't even stand out there. We invited things, you know, John, of course, we had John Riley, he was.
That was nice.
He was a big help for this. And another thing, a lot of the, of course, our system's been in a lot longer than the Fairfield system, and theirs went quite smoothly. We didn't have any parts, John said everything just went into it. But ours was a little different, and the prints showed very few of the service shutoffs. So, and a lot of them we had to shut off because we had to change valves that were leaking. And, we located all but two, and we got a pretty good idea where those are. I think somebody got in there with a backhoe and snapped one off. And the other one, I think we can find yet, but out of all those, we found them all, documented them, measured them all off. So it was a pretty time-consuming process.
Yeah, maybe worth it when you need to go
It's-
shut off.
Yeah, and looking at some of these basements, I don't know how some of the guys went down in some of these places. It was pretty rough, you know, stairs that were, well, some of them didn't have stairs. You went down with a step ladder and they pull it out afterwards, you know, that's how bad some of them were.
Makes you a better citizen.
It's done, you know, we got them in, and it's done, and it's, you know, we did go and research it in Georgia beforehand, and the guy was really happy with the system, showed us all through, showed us the meters, and he'd had them in for over a year, no problem, so.
Have you found a lot more water usage, or where the water's all?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
That's the
amazing.
part I wondered.
It's amazing to see how
we
many.
probably had maybe 50% of the mechanical meters that weren't working. So we were charging a flat, you know, your average rate
Yeah,
of what, if they used a little bit more, we averaged it out over the past, but a lot of them were just paying the $100 payment, and a lot of these birds, you know, they do that, and they were using water for everything. Don't care if the toilets run or anything else. Now they're finding out that there's quite a few that we're gonna be making up the difference on, you know.
so you'll be flush with cash then after this?
Pardon?
I said you'll be flush with cash after
Yeah,
this?
no, it's not, but I mean, we're seeing a big difference on the readings. Riley is doing the readings, I really didn't get into that much. He's been doing those, and it is a process. We're still working out a few little bugs, and John Bonnet was, you know, not as helpful as I would have wanted, but in the beginning, he helped us get going. And Riley actually, excuse me, got involved with Albert and those guys and helped them. They didn't have a clue, and they were having a hard time getting hold of him. Apparently, he's still working there, but in a different capacity, and I guess his son's in there now doing what he was doing. So there's a little bit of mix up there, and they didn't have a lot of help. So Riley helped them out with it and got them going. Because he'd done it for a while. And I mean, like I said, we're still working on a few bugs on that, and it's coming around. Riley's wife is doing the calculations at the end.
Can you do it from your house, or do you have to still drive around and?
I've been driving around. I can get like 10 or 15 right from my house.
Yeah.
And the more you do it, the more you pick up from like my house. But it takes 10 to 15 minutes to do anyways, even if I have to drive.
It's kinda neat, you drive down the street, you go,
And it's
ping,
just-
ping, ping, and you see these little dots come up on the screen, and the name and
Yeah.
the.
And you
everything
can,
comes
you
right
can
up.
literally look into it, like if someone has questions about why is my usage so high, you can look into it and say, well, at this time, and they weren't even home, their water peaked for whatever reason, you know, because of leaking toilets or
Yeah.
whatever, you know. it may
We've
have been.
we've got a rig where you go in and, put it on the meter, and it gives a graph calculation
Hour by hour.
of what time it was peaking and everything. What people don't realize is if you've got a toilet that's running, it's just like, if you go down in your basement and listen to it, it's just like opening up a valve.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got a full blown of water running, if it runs all night, for a matter of a few days even, you know, they don't understand that, but they're finding that out now. And John has some calls to fix some toilets.
I was gonna say, is that an advertisement? The pipe comes out of this house on the main street?
No, it's gonna be really good for our system. I think this next, Riley just did the readings the other day, and we had a couple little glitches there, but they're straightened out now, and I think next time that we do the readings, we're gonna be right on course.
That's exciting.
How's your other project coming along?
That, I got the engineering report from East Engineering, Tyler Billingsley.
Okay, yeah.
And I've been trying to get hold of Emily lately. I had a bunch of stuff going on for a while, but I've called her about 3 times this week and says, leave a message, and my mailbox is full. So I don't know if she's gone somewhere or what, but I wanna get in contact with her and see what kind of money is available now that we couldn't even look for it before without the engineering study. And I'll tell you, it's unbelievable. I don't know what I'm gonna do at this point in time. I mean, we can fight them and just have them on us all the time. It actually says in the engineering report, do nothing or replace the top, which is $333,000 to put a concrete cover on that. Unbelievable. Or put a reservoir double the size as we got and spend $1.3 million. I don't think so. But, you know, we repaired what damage was done in it. It was very small, but the guy that was running it wasn't interested. There was a couple little pieces of sawdust, more or less, floating in there when they opened up the hatch. And when you open up the hatch, they're scuffing it. We cut that rotten wood out in the hatch, replaced it all, screwed the plywood all back up. The guy that came and did our sanitary survey this year, his name was Ferguson, really good guy, and he had no complaints on anything. We didn't get written up on a thing. So I think we're in pretty good shape. I've got, the only drawback, and I've got it scheduled for May 16th, we're having what's the name of it?
You get a tank inspection.
Yeah, but I'm trying to think of the name. There's an outfit out of Montpelier, I think. I've got it right on the tip of my tongue, but I can't remember anything anymore. Simon's Operations. And they have a robot that goes down in where we were having to use skin divers out of Massachusetts, UK divers, with the big helmets. They'd have to sanitize their suits, have outside air. They'd come in and take pictures of the inside of the reservoir, vacuum everything up. And I mean, you didn't get a dustpan of dust out of the bottom of that reservoir ever, but now this Simon's told me they can do it for a fraction of the price. It would cost us over $3,000 every 5 years to do this. And because of the wood roof structure, we're forced to do it. But if we continue to follow this protocol, and now we've repaired that, I mean, I don't like to buck them because they look for other things to nail you. I think you're fighting them, but I mean, you know, it's a limit. I mean,
There's small
74 users, I guess, and I mean, you know, we don't have that kind of money. But if I can get hold of Emily, and when I do, I will get hold of her, I'll find out what kind of money is available through these other grants, you know, and see if it's possible that we can get the money to do that.
You have her email address, Dawn? Because she's passed on email.
Do, but.
She's been closing out.
I like talking with her because they
Yeah.
come up with, you know, I'm not real good at that anyway, but.
You could email her and ask her to
I
call
think
you.
If you had her email, I could.
Do you know?
He doesn't, he's not.
Do you know if, yeah, I can.
I have it. What's your email, Riley?
RYLEY
Yeah.
dot MANGAM@yahoo.com.
Are they in the office physically now, or are they still working?
Some of them
Some of
are.
them, sometimes.
She's been very helpful in the past,
She's really helpful.
and she is very smart, she knows where to get the money.
She's been doing a lot of first quarter and end of the year things, so I had a hard time reaching her too, but she's coming back around.
Good.
Yep.
I'm gonna try to get hold of her, and just put the, I'll give her the engineering report and find out what's available. I'm sure she'll know.
Don, I'm just going back to the meter. So outstanding report, thank you very much. One question, are we, when we talked about this, we told you that it takes a lot of dotting i's and crossing t's
Yes.
for the ARPA funding. How are we for the reporting for the,
I finished putting the report in, it's completely finished now. And we went back and forth a couple times about a few things, but the details came, and then even just last week, I think I made
My
a
wife made
phone
the whole
call.
report out.
Yeah,
The first time, it wasn't quite what you had to have, so she
Right.
redid it again, and it was
it was,
thanks for doing the work and thanks for doing the paperwork.
Yeah.
That's
It was all done when she
Yeah.
passed it.
Yeah.
and then I
Good,
had
thank
a
you.
question
All she
last
had to
week,
do
and it
was
came
go through
through
the audit with it.
pretty
It was,
easily.
I mean, we had canceled checks, everything was all there.
Good, thank you.
Kathy actually has the report.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate what you guys did to help us get this.
Keep us up to date on the cover thing, I mean, like you said, you don't wanna buck them, but if you can find some money, if we end up with a grant writer that, you know, can help you look for the grant for it, I mean.
It's like everything else, if there's money there and you can divert it to your community like we have in the past for a lot of projects, we'll do that. You know, I don't know how much, we're in good shape as far as our overall loan, it's almost paid off. But it's been quite a few years, you know, since they put that system in, the piping and everything, but it'll be paid off this year. That's how close we are, so we're in good shape.
We have to
But
start replacing pipe.
then-
I was gonna say that.
Then again,
It's
we had a bad break on the main drag, and that is an issue with us, because you gotta have, these flagging outfits come in, and when you're dealing with the state, it's different, well, you guys know, I don't have to tell you that, you're dealing with it all the time. But it was an over $11,000 fix, and that hurt our pocketbook bad, you know? But we didn't have any other alternative, and Riley did most of the work at home. Guys are just getting into it was BP that did it. Them guys hadn't done much water work, and mainly sewer. Riley's down there doing all the fixes, and we paid them $11,000, but they had the equipment. Plus, we had the black.
Traffic control, you're on 36, so a lot
Yeah,
more.
2 days, they were a day and a half of traffic control, and, you know, they really put it
Just,
through that.
when it comes to the grant stuff, I mean, having the town backing might help, or, you know, just keep us in the loop. I mean,
Yeah.
it's-
Oh, no, we will. I just was trying to get the feelers out there with Emily.
Yeah, I mean, do
What
the
is
legwork,
available.
find what you can, but.
Yep. But we were lucky to get the 8,000 from you to get that preliminary report done, and Tyler's really good. He's real accommodating, he's accessible anytime you need to talk to him,
That's,
and,
He likes dealing with smaller communities, I gather, right?
yeah. I met when he came up, looked everything over, and took him around, and he came back up and made a study, and he did good. So we had that one big break, then we had another break right by the fence there on your property. We were losing 30,000 gallons a day. All of it. We were losing some water, and we dug, the pressure wasn't holding on the gauge inside. Usually holds 50 pounds pressure when it's shut down, and it would drop to zero. So we couldn't find a leak, and we walked, couldn't find anything. And people weren't having problems with dirt in their lines, you know, or anything like that, but, so we took a stab. I knew there was a fix where the well is inside and I wondered if maybe it let go or was leaking. Dug that up, and there was a dry hole. So we had to pay for that. And then we let it kept going and going, it went on a couple more weeks, finally surfaced. Just outside the fence right there. And it was a 3-inch line, and it was blowing right out 45 crack and was shooting right up out of there. So it finally surfaced when we found it, but we've had some substantial costs this year with our system, but I think, you know, we're pretty good now, I hope.
The older it gets, the more it'll be, right?
Yeah, it's the nature of the beast. Don't mean nothing to him, I mean, he's on 20-inch things out there fixing.
Yeah.
It's good to have.
It's all proportional.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, it scares me. But, the meter system, I think, is gonna really work out good for us. And like I said, this time around, we had just 2 little glitches there that we couldn't figure what was right. And it was Bonnet's issue, to be perfectly honest with you. He hadn't designated a certain meter to a name, and that was one of the glitches, the other was similar. And we got over that. Now, Riley, like I said, Riley's wife's in on it now, she's doing the calculations for the overruns and stuff like that, so it's working out good. I mean, so I think we're in pretty good shape, and I just wanna thank you for the backing you gave us to get this.
Thank you, appreciate it.
I'm glad it's worked out.
And we'll keep you up to date on the cover. I mean, if the funds are available, we can get them somewhere, we're definitely gonna go out there and try to get that done. I mean, the state would like it done. I mean,
There's only so much you can do.
yeah, I mean,
Oh, good.
any other questions?
Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate it all.
Okay. Thank you.
Stay out of trouble.
Appreciate it.
Ready? You wanna go next?
Put a culvert in on the Berry Road. Then we got one up on that lane we gotta get in, just above Picture Rocks. It's collapsed, little water going through it, but we get up there.
Just before St. Pierce?
Yeah.
Yeah, those culverts.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that maybe was froze.
Yeah. Yeah, we got to do, no,
What
still wait on that lane. I'll get, before the next, try to get it before the next meeting, bids for our sand this year. Where people can know who'll get it and how much we need.
You've reached out for them, or?
Not yet, no, I'm going to,
Yeah. How much stands left in the shed?
I don't,
Was it?
yeah, I'm going to call it. Got a call from Jeffrey Corey on that North Road culvert. I ain't heard back from, looking like last week of July. We're gonna do that.
You sure you can't do it in the middle of August?
Last week of July.
The last week of July is when the culvert will be all set. That's when the culvert will be ready to be picked up.
Yeah, so, Matt Ruff will be doing the project last week of July. That's when he give us a heads up where we could be around, you know.
When is this one being closed down here? Do you know?
Next summer, 36.
Yeah.
Have you heard anything?
I haven't. It's a state project and they don't
Can
always,
you get hold of,
Well, we should be talking to them because it's gonna divert a lot of
Yeah.
traffic
Yeah.
onto our roads.
who works down there with District 8 there?
Joe,
Who?
Joe something.
No,
They were just here last week, right?
what's that?
They were down here last week,
Was it?
flaggers, yeah. I don't know what they were doing.
I think they're running line.
Mo, are you asking me that
Part of the road.
I
Yeah.
contact District 8 for you?
You called District for the town
That's what
and
you
ask them when they plan on doing that. Cause that gonna be closed a week or two, right? Something like that.
Okay.
Jim Cordova, you had somebody that works for him too.
Yeah, Jim moved on.
Yeah.
There's somebody else there now. That was it's Joe.
Yeah.
I guess I'm wrong.
I think he would Colchester or something, but he still runs the,
He's running them both.
He's
Is he
not.
running them both?
They probably could answer that question.
I can answer that, I can find out.
What's Jeff say for a timeline for North Road?
I didn't say, I think it's a couple of weeks, but we're supposed to be getting some signs, we call them message signs. Message board, yeah.
There's been a lot of chatter about it, and the expectation is that we're putting a temporary road.
There's gonna be a
Is there in for a
diversion.
surprise?
I mean,
We're diverting traffic, and
I didn't say anything.
they're aiming for late summer. And the shop drawings have been submitted, and the culvert is ready to go by the end of July. Everything's on track.
But Dan knows that we're not putting a temporary road, question mark?
We do have the money for a temporary road.
No, but did Dan know that?
Who's Dan?
Dan Horgan?
Danny
Oh,
Shaw.
yeah, Tim knows that.
Okay.
He's been at every contractor meeting and
Perfect.
has been communicating really easily with
Even
Tyler.
if it was flat, going up that hill, I mean, you
There
can put a
have
culvert across, but that's a pretty steep hill to go with tractor trailers.
Yeah.
Taylor said-
Danny also has a request that we put in a temporary cow
She's gonna have it from.
bridge that
Right.
is not the
I mean,
same
if we
thing at
divert
all.
them, they have to go up Chester Acre,
And
go
all
up
the
Pumpkin Road to
contractors
Chester
do that.
Acre or something.
Yeah, it was.
Worse scenario.
Oh, we closed down by Brucey's and Aggies,
Yeah.
that's where they had to go, Wanzers and back around.
Yeah.
That's for a couple of. Remember last year, you guys, when Kathy got the parking lot painted,
Yeah.
marking, and how'd that go? Did you?
We had that planned for this spring. I was waiting for all of the snow to be gone, and I was gonna give him a call back. He has us on his docket for very close to the beginning of the season.
And that's, this parking lot in,
This one and that one, and by the pond.
okay.
And I'll connect with you when I have a conversation with him. I did have a question, though, about, I noticed that, I know that we're gonna be doing the marking, but, the parking lot is, do we do any kind of paving or anything on the parking lots? No? Okay.
Think it needs it up that way, especially those, you think it needs paving?
I was just thinking about the fact that there's some places in the parking lot that are getting a little crumbly and broken. But
I'd say let's wait and see what we get for a grant for that Chester Acre Road. You been up down that lane?
Well, right now, that's where.
Yeah.
Basket.
we also have some money for paving outside of that too, that we could put toward that road.
That road- I mean, that road could go from end to end. You could be spending a couple $1 million if you, on that road easily. Gets a lot of traffic.
Put a bit of traffic.
Especially once they
Yeah.
can't close that, it will get a lot more.
What's that?
When they close that. it'll
We
get a
should
lot
probably
more.
set up a toll booth system.
That's not a bad
Then we
idea.
could put money towards
Yeah.
repaving road.
Or that Chester Arthur Bridge.
Right. We could do it and have Mo and the guys do it in shifts. That would be one way to kind of get some funding for this.
Yeah.
Just an idea.
I'll call it second.
How about an 8th grade community service project?
Well, then we'd get into child labor laws, wouldn't we? Geez, I don't know.
One more thing, this is from Chevalier, water softener. We trucks and grades, whatever. Yeah, hard water, the white spot all over them, and,
Oh, you wash them?
yeah, hose them off, wash them.
So what, you have to wipe them down?
Yeah, probably that might work, I don't know.
Try Culligans too,
Huh?
try Culligans.
Get a quote from them, I got a quote here for them.
What kind of number are they talking?
2,500.
So what is this, then you add softener, the salt or whatever to
Yeah,
it all the time?
They were cheaper than Culligans.
I never,
Oh,
just, all I got is one quote from Chicago.
oh.
I can I can get another one for the next meeting and go from there.
So I don't know if we wanna do this now or a little later, but if we did it now, we would include, I think we should include Mo. There are two questions that I have about contracts that I'd like to go into executive session about. They're pretty simple and quick. But I just wanted to make sure that the select board had a chance to answer the question before I made any decisions on them, so.
Who do you want in the executive session?
I mean, I think Mo just said, you know, usually there, we're involved with, it's contracts that are related to roads and
I
garage.
make a motion that we go into executive session for to address the contractual issue involving roads
And garage.
and the garage.
I second that.
It'll take
I'll give you a number more.
the executive session.
Excuse me.
It was just discussion.
You're done, Morris, right?
Yep.
Linda?
Okay, so last meeting that I was at,
Hang around, you can have a cupcake.
yeah. Every year after town meeting, we get the little annual update for all our officers and their information, and had a couple questions on some. So right now, it says the EM director is Kathy and the EM coordinator is Jonathan, which I asked the clarification between director and coordinator. The answer was EM director is usually the chair, select board chair or designee, and the EM coordinator is someone the select board appoints who is the busy bee for emergency management related activities. So, that being said, how do you wanna keep Kathy as the director and do somebody else as a coordinator, or?
They're both required?
Yeah. There was another one that wasn't required that we were,
And was Jonathan on both at the beginning? Because
I don't remember. The one thing that wasn't required is the Regional Energy Committee, that was Alicia, so. Anyway. And, the amount that, their request this year is $2,371. So they wanna know if that's approved, and
Who's that for, regional planning?
yeah. So, and I'll need the signature, of Tom's signature. So,
So does Jonathan still do this, or do we know?
well,
I think we would have wanted him to be the coordinator, that's
No.
like the.
I mean, the information
Yeah.
about safety, any kind of, if there's any kind of emergency, something, I get the emergency broadcasts, and then I also work on I wrote and redid the emergency management plan. And I didn't realize there was a difference between what I was doing and a coordinator, so I assumed that it all kind of went together, but I don't know if that's something.
Sorry, you're supposed to have two separate individuals?
they have two separate, you can sign it and send it back with one person. I just asked the question.
So if we nominate Kathy for both positions, is there any reason you can't do that?
I'm right there. I live in Sheldon.
Seems like the most simple way to do it, doesn't it?
Sounds good.
And she could have, like, knowledge to somebody for assistant or something, you know, if there is a big emergency.
Yeah,
I mean,
2,000
Super day.
people, I mean, it's about,
it's gonna be fire department or something involved in one.
yeah, they have to
In
be.
town.
Yeah, and you're also on that list as well as a contact, so.
And
So I nominate Kathy for the second position on that thing, so we get this thing moving on.
okay, and do you approve the 2371?
And that's basically what we've done each year, it comes out.
It's based on,
Yeah, so I'd make the nomination and also to accept the 2371 as our cost. Dealing with regional planning.
okay, now,
Can somebody second that?
I will.
We gonna vote on?
All those in favor?
What's the 2371?
that's the,
Their dues or whatever.
yeah, that's the,
Whoops,
the, municipal assessment.
Thank you.
So the timeline is here for the reappraisal. Right now they're looking at getting everything to the publisher on May 4th. And the booklets are getting directly mailed from the publisher. Right now, the 19th of May looks like the date that those will be going. So the 20th. So then pre-grievances are scheduled for June 6th through 8th, and grievances, the 19th through the 21st right now. The booklets will come out with all the instructions on what people have to do.
A booklet for each property, each town.
The booklet will, is this the first time you've owned a house since, we've been, you get a booklet that shows everyone in towns, old appraisal and new appraisal. So you can look, you can see where yours falls next to the person that you think it should be lined up with. But we're getting there now. Right now, what's holding us up is Vermont Pi, because the state of Vermont has this system that was supposed to go live in 2021, is 2023 still hasn't finished, so.
Just tell me you need more money on Montpelier and we'll send it to you.
No, they just wanna make me pay more for my heat fuel oil. And then, delinquent, we're down to 17,830. I think that's pretty good for, April.
And there's still some paying on that or towards it.
What's that?
There's still some paying towards it.
Oh, yeah, basically, it's payment arrangements and people that are avoiding it. I did have a question about the Soul Cemetery, which we still have plots for. Somebody was interested, they haven't come in yet. Are they still $500? That's, the last time we sold a plot was in 2020 and it was for $500.
Are those laid out over there? I mean, that's still its own association, right?
No, they've been coming through us.
They've been coming through the town for that, even though they're their own association? Because did we ever formally take that over? As far as mowing and
That's
that?
the one,
No, so
Oh,
the
the soul, over the
swamp soul,
swamps, yeah.
you're thinking of
Bradley.
Bradley where all the souls are buried,
Yeah,
yeah,
Soul's the one in the swamp.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's all laid out. in the whole
Yeah.
account.
yeah, cause Bill Hannon did it.
Yeah,
So is it $500 for a plot still,
that's per person, per body, however you want to phrase it.
per plot,
Yeah,
yeah,
I guess I'd find out first what the average is, if they've gone up, if they stayed stagnant, or what they've done. I don't know.
okay.
Must be, we can find out some way. Yeah.
Well, I can ask John what the
St. Patrick's is.
St. Patrick's is getting, I can call Sheldon and find out what they're getting.
Yeah, I think we ought to at least know what other surrounding.
Compare it, but I think, a lot of them now are doing away with burials and making you do, cremation, save room.
Well,
Right.
they could save room with me, cause I'm gonna get cremated and gone with the wind, but
Don't raise our hopes.
I know, we're counting down the days, right?
But they still have to buy a plot to be buried in.
Yeah.
Because they have to put it, right, a smaller plot, right.
No, I agree with that, I would check
Okay.
a couple places just to have it on average of the same.
Yeah, I mean, before I sell one, I wanted to know, because it's been 3 years since we sold one.
Yeah.
No, I would take those two and average them out, or
Yeah.
the three of them, average them out.
See what's a realistic price. Yeah. Next meeting, we can do that.
Okay.
That's it?
That's it.
Oh, moving right along.
Kathy?
Well, I didn't think I had very long.
So I didn't mean to overlook this, but while Mola's here, so we have to sign for our FY '24 estes, the fiscal year '24 municipal roads grants and aid program. This is the one that has been doing, making sure that our we have segments of hydrologically connected roads that are improved and meeting the requirements of the state municipal roads grant permit. So that, it's been going up. We don't know how much money we would get next year, but this year, how much did we get this year? It was 45,000, last year it was 24,000. And this was the money that we used to fix Jouer Road and your road, and I think those are the two big ones.
Sort of like that better back road.
It's like better back roads, but it's more focused on culvert related.
So we
Stone line ditches.
you can still line with it still and that kind of thing?
Yeah.
Glass.
And they have, it has a 20% match. So they just want to know that we have an intent to participate, and then they'll calculate how much money, and then we still have an option of accepting the award or not. So this is just,
I say it's good money.
Yeah, it's a big, let's get it signed and get it done with.
all right, did you sign that right there? I said North Road, and then ARPA reporting is complete. The energy audit is finally gonna take place this week on the 27th at 9 o'clock at the community, at the Commons Room. And I'll be meeting the gentleman, it is Paul Flankenstein there at 9 o'clock, and I was just curious if anybody wants to meet him with me. It's a 4-hour process. He'll be over there for, we don't have to be over there for 4 hours, but he'll be over there for 4 hours, and he'll be going up into the, I have never gone into the hatch before. I told him to bring a ladder to get up to that roof segment from the upstairs, but he'll be all over the place doing that work.
He's asking you to bring a ladder?
No, I'm just asking, I'm gonna meet in there and open the doors, but I was just curious because.
What day is it?
It's on Thursday, this Thursday, the 27th at 9 o'clock. I'm just opening the doors. I just thought maybe you would wanna, if you wanted to come, see, Snoop, say hi. Just let me know. This is not a big thing, but it is a big thing. The photocopier lease contract is up for renewal. And we need to give a 30-day notice of whether we want to purchase, upgrade, or return the machine. The lease was signed in 2018, and the last time we signed the lease, we upgraded. I looked back, and then I've talked with Linda. There are some problems. There's some bugs in the current machine that we have with scanning and photocopying that we kind of put up with, but I think that the consensus around here is that we would like to look at what the options are for a new machine if possible. So it would, I think just finding out what the cost is and what the options are is where we'd like to go. Not sure if you have any ideas about any thoughts on that.
What is the lease cost per year now?
It was $134 a month.
That's
I would say
paper and
look
ink
at
or
it.
just
Yeah,
machine?
paper.
Machine,
Paper.
just
Machine.
machine, just leasing the machine.
Same machine been here 5 years?
Yeah, it's been the same.
But they anything happens and they maintain it, right?
They maintain it, it comes with all of the,
I mean, that's,
Yeah, no, that's,
takes a lot of copying, I would think, but
Yeah.
5 years. I would opt to check, see what his
Well, I
upgrade would be.
Yeah, I think we're crazy if we don't, before we commit to.
You know,
So what would you do,
another five-
renew the lease with that machine that was there, is that?
they wanna know if we wanna purchase that, if we wanna renew the lease, or if we want to, if we wanna just not have a photocopier anymore.
there's a couple of options.
Yeah. So I'll bring that to the future meeting. And the first quarter budget status report, and we're on target. I brought copies of the current status.
Did you ever get a final audit from Ian Price?
No, I'm meeting with Amanda on Wednesday to make sure that we're on the same page about, they asked for a ton of journal entries that were they see things differently than what we do internally. So they apparently always ask for journal entries, and so she and I need to be on the same page about if those journal entries seem to make sense. I thought they did. She wants to talk to me about those. And then once those are done, we should have an audit within, the final audit within a couple weeks.
So they're 3 months beyond normal.
Yeah,
Because of that single audit.
the single audit.
And see what that one thing, and throw it that far out of whack.
They said that there was an entire, when he came and spoke to all of you, he said that there was an entire federal process that they had to go through that increases the number of hours they have to spend on things, the research they have to do. I gave all the information they needed, but then they have to go through and check all the things. So, for example, just the ARPA money, that was part of their audit, and that comes with a ton of paperwork. And then there's,
Jeweler project, I mean, that's.
yeah,
what
the
they
big
said they can only go where they
600,000.
move.
Right, I know that, well, they've had those before, and they never got that far beyond the date.
right?
What I'm saying, the
So
ARPA's
this
the
is
thing,
our
it is
first-
different.
No, this is our first single audit for the town. The single audit is a federally
We've done
focused.
one before,
Okay,
on another bridge.
maybe with different auditors.
No, it was
No,
with
we
them.
always had that,
Huh.
but they just, you know.
Well, we've had it done before, but it still came out pretty timely to me.
I would be willing to look into what other auditors are doing, what other towns are doing for auditors. I don't know if that's.
Well, it's always been a
something-
bid process, I would almost think this is the last year of the bid somehow. Maybe I'm mistaken. We've done bids the last few years on those different ones. Just I'm surprised for them, they usually weren't that late in getting things
But I
done.
think, you know, everything like that. labor
Well,
shortage.
they've had changes out there, I mean, Kevin retired, you know, so.
I do know they're very busy. They've always seemed very busy when I contact them. So, would you like me to look into, I mean, we can price that
Well,
out.
going forward, we,
You can seek
in
out some
accordance with
bids.
our policy, it should be a bid, it probably was bid.
Yeah.
It was bid, they were 3-year bids.
Okay.
Because they can't remember, we had some from way down south that were cheap, but then
Yeah.
we figured out they.
And then we'd get reports on you got what you paid for.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I can find out what, like Sheldon is doing and other towns are doing to see.
See when the bid contract.
Yeah, see, that's right, see where we're at with the bid cycle.
Okay.
I think they would know what their places are. This is probably the second year with them.
Yeah, it could be the last, I don't know, it's pretty, I'm sure it won't go down.
The other thing that we want to talk about is last year, I'm gonna just give these to you before I forget to. This is the budget status report. It really has no big shockers, it's all, I looked it through last year where we were at this time and this year where we are at this time.
You got one, Dave?
We do have an increase coming, it's not documented here, but there is an increase coming on the Vermont State Unemployment Insurance. And that is a higher rate this year at 3.2% due to 2020. In 2020, there were some folks in town, library folks, when the library closed, that filed for unemployment, and that was through a COVID process. And they were encouraged to do so, but that calculation bumped us up this year with a higher rate. So right now it says 0, but I think we're gonna be spending that pretty quickly. And that's on page 2. I also noticed we have, it's not a big deal, but we've overspent on our flags this year. And last year we didn't spend any money on flags, but this year we've spent quite a lot of money on flags. I don't know why.
The average out,
Probably.
then no big deal.
Yeah. But that's, really, when it comes down to it, every single line is at the same,
I mean, the flag along the road.
just all of the flags that we spend as a community. It's, I think, through the town clerk's office.
But I know the ones on the road, I mean, they just get really
Destroyed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or lost, or blown away, or broke.
Hard winds or hard.
Yeah.
And we're doing, we have higher postage in zoning this year, because there's sort of 5 mil that's going along with this whole development project. It seems like equipment and maintenance is higher this year. We were at more like 43% last year, and we're at 51% this year. Not something to worry about, but we've spent 50% of our budget on that, with that budget line. and last year, we were at 32.32% of the total budget that we'd expended. This year, we're at 28.14%. That doesn't include this final AP, so it probably, when I say we're at the same place, that's the comparison that I'm looking at. So if you look through and you see anything that jumps out at you, let me know. But I think we're in good shape. And we do need to talk about a tax anticipation loan at some point. I want to make sure that we do that sooner than later, because last year you had requested that I look into a line of credit. I have connected with Sue Cross, and I emailed Sue Cross to give me more information on that, what the rates would be. But I also connected with Amanda, and she said that the reason that she would propose that we don't do a line of credit is because of the administrative work that goes along with reconciling a line of credit with the current budget and within the current system that we have in Nemrick. So, and I think we'd have to set that all up, because I'm pretty sure we don't have a line of credit for operations in Nemrick at this point. So we have to figure that out. But I can get the rates on that. That's it for me. At this point.
Melissa?
Nope, nothing.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second?
Any errors, omissions, or comments? All those in favor?
The warrants, I just wanted to make sure that you know that and I mentioned this to David, but the final, I believe that this has the final pavilion invoices in it. We had an amendment that needed to go through the state with NRPC. So there were some lingering invoices, but I think that maybe one more from NRPC, but that project is done. And the accounting is pretty much done.
Is there a motion for approval of the warrants?
Yeah, I'll make it.
Second? All those in favor? No other business?
The one thing I want to bring up, Bill Moore today stopped to see if he had any interest. Apparently I'm not sure where he got his information. Must be some rural brands or something, but he was suggesting Bill Moore.
Oh,
You know, the old dam in East Fairfield by the bridge. He was suggesting that we can look into some type of hydro project there, going through that sluiceway. I said, well, I'd bring it up. I didn't know with our grant writer. Has he come in? I mean, has he done much?
He's come in, he then
you
he had an emergency.
You
he
get
had
that
to-
before?
No.
He's come in, he's done some work, he's been doing some research, and then he had an emergency that he needed to tend to. He wanted to be here tonight, and if you have any questions, I told him that I would call him. But he's on track. He's coming in this Friday, we'll reconnect him.
Something you can ask him, I guess.
Yeah,
I don't think there's enough flow there now.
Well, he's talking up by the bridge. On the bridge.
Where they
New Street,
diverted
or
down.
whatever, what's the street called?
Mill Street.
Mill Street. That's the one he's talking about, not the
Where-
lower one.
Yeah, where they used to shut it down.
Right, that's where they had the sawmill.
Shut it, right.
Yeah, they had the sawmill there,
Right.
so.
Well,
I told him I'd bring it up and mention it.
Look at it, see.
There's a pile, today there's a pile of water flowing through there, because I asked them, I said, how do they use the saw in the summer? And they had a system where they could fill it back up and almost like a pond there. Then they take out, he said they probably ran 4 hours a day. And then they stacked them over the rest of the day. So,
Do you want to, put, from the minutes, you want to put Riley Road on the agenda for next meeting and kind of circle the wagons on? You kind of talked about that last meeting or put it on a month from now or not?
Yeah, would you like me to connect with Sheldon and ask them if they would like to meet with us again about Riley Road, or do we want
I don't
to?
think there's much point in meeting with each other. I mean,
Right. So the
Riley,
question.
what is that?
That's that crossroad there.
That's what that's
Brady
called?
Reed. I don't know. must
Oh,
be-
from Sheldon in maybe?
From Sheldon to, yeah. The question is, do we want to throw it up,
Where it was, it was there.
or do we?
I was thinking up by, I was thinking a little
Where is
street
it?
up by horses.
It's the connector between Sheldon and Fairfield, and it's a class
That was at Funky
4
Village right
road.
there by Doug.
Doug Flax.
It's a class 4
Remember
road.
the Randy Reed and all them come in?
Yeah.
Now, I don't know how the Riley is what they're calling it. from the
This is
Sheldon
what it's called on our map.
I didn't know that. I knew from Sheldon in, but.
So.
Well, the only reason I bring it up is, we've heard some input, I think we asked for legal opinion, what our options are. And I think you were wise to raise it, like, do we wanna get prepared or not?
If there's an intention of the board, whether you would, if you would like to throw up the road, there's a process that I've been told about, which is having a hearing and then making a motion, basically. There are no drawbacks, according to our legal opinion, of throwing up the road. That would go, basically, maintenance would go to the neighbors.
Lose the right of way.
And you lose the right of way, and you don't have a future potential, if there's ever a time in the future that you would wanna use the road and change it and upgrade it, you can't.
The discussion was kind of whether or not we were gonna
Throw
gate
it.
it or not.
Yeah.
And then we wanted to get a legal opinion, and basically the legal opinion is that we can, and there's no reason not to, unless you decide that you want to keep it for some future purpose.
Right, what he's talking about though is gating the road, right?
Right, that's what our discussion was last
Right.
year.
I don't think anybody was super keen on throwing it up at this
No.
time.
And you can't gate the road as a class 4 road, unless you can open the gate every single time.
Right, you can gate it, but you can't lock it,
Right.
because they've done that, Wilmar and all that, so you can gate it.
I think it's a class 4 road that people have. I mean, we can certainly around and talk about it some more, but.
Okay, it sounds
No,
like,
we need to have to come figure it out. so.
Yeah. well, if we're not getting follow-up, I guess we could check with Randy, say, hey, Randy, what's going on?
It's true.
I can connect with Randy, or you can.
Well, that or, you could, I mean, not me with Sheldon, but just see if they have had any
Yeah,
feedback.
I'd say I'd find out from the town of Sheldon themselves.
Yeah,
Okay.
Have they progressed anything, or have they come up with any great ideas?
What are they gonna do, or do anything, or just let the,
That's better.
Let the-
A
let
little
the-
courtesy check-in with the town of Sheldon, say, hey, is there any,
updates, or
Sure.
key dates, or,
yeah, I'm comfortable with that.
okay, I'll let you know what I find out.
Good.
The common school next steps, let's do the audit, and then once we get a report back.
Now, Julie was gonna provide us a memo of volunteers that
I
she
did
was.
not receive a memo from her, I'll
Okay,
follow up.
well,
with her,
let's
find out.
just wait.
Once we get the energy audit back, then we'll have something we can work with.
Yeah, so that'd be a eye-opener. Price wise.
My little house was 40,000 after Fleckenstein came to my house.
To make it energy efficient.
Oh, yeah.
$40,000. The house is worth around 200, well, probably 3 now.
Maybe 350 now, would make it energy efficient.
350.
So the other part of the bid, the energy efficiency, Vermont Energy Co-op gave us was to provide help with finding funding. So that's one of the things that they offer. Once they
Yeah.
do this, they can point
Well,
us in the right
like
direction.
Dave said, well, that'll be good input for if Julie comes up with a bunch of volunteers.
Yeah. Okay. Any other business?
Yeah, I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
I'll leave it.
I'll make a motion, we eat cupcakes.